Salutations, everybody. Come, sit. Let's catch up. I bet nobody else on YouTube can say they have a mac and cheese tripod. You'll only see it here, folks. Okay. So much has happened since we last talked. I've gotten a couple of requests from people who subscribed originally for the Stargardts support group, just wanting an update on what my vision is doing and kind of where I stand currently. So I figured I need to stop putting it off and get back to the original purpose of why I started this channel and update you guys on what's been going on in my life. With the last vlog I did pertaining about Stargardts, I was telling you all about the business that I started, and it was a pet sitting business and it was going super well. I was very busy, I was successful, and I was loving it. During that time of running my business, I decided I wanted to go back to school, and I finally got up the courage to pursue something that I wanted to do forever. So I signed up with an academy, and I got started on my canine training license certification. So here I was, running my own business, going back to school. I had never been happier with where my life was at that moment. And of course, as life goes, once you've set yourself on one direction, something else comes along and throws you completely off course. But completely for the better. And even though this adventure was completely unexpected and out of the blue, I thank God every day for the beautiful path that it took me down. Because you see, the very day after I signed up for school and the very day after I felt like my life was perfect and I couldn't ask for anything better, something better came along. And that something was a someone, and that someone would be my future husband. Yep, here came Drew, out of the blue, and kind of threw a wrench in my plan. School very much became an afterthought when all I could focus on was my full attention on this beautiful new soul that had entered into my life. From the first day that Drew and I started talking, we spoke to each other every day until finally, what seemed like forever, about 4 weeks later, we were able to finally meet in person. Drew and I spent a blissful week together that first week that we met. And after that, we just couldn't stay away from each other, so we were constantly flying back and forth or driving back and forth from Utah to Arizona to be with one another. Drew is a one-of-a-kind man, and I did not want to lose him. And so when we got engaged, shortly after just meeting each other, neither of our families were very surprised. In January of 2017, Drew and I were married in Gilbert, Arizona. And that same weekend, I flew back here to Utah and we started our life together. And just like everything else about us, we are very unconventional. And we did some very crazy and unconventional things, like living in a tiny house. Story for another time. Or buying a dog, and then another one while living in a tiny house. Or moving to the middle of nowhere, Utah to buy a 108-year-old house, which is our current situation. And I love it. But that kind of brings you up to speed as to where I am in life right now. And as far as my eyesight goes, some things have changed there as well. When I did my first vlogs, you guys saw that I was doing them in my car. Looking back at that time, I realized that I should have stopped driving a lot sooner than I did, but I just got so comfortable in where I was. After moving to Utah, however, I cut myself off completely because, again, back to that familiarity, I think that put me in a sense of complacency and like I was fine. And so once I put myself in an unfamiliar territory, then I no longer felt comfortable being behind the wheel. And my car sat for months. Even though I already knew what I needed to do, I just didn't want to do it. The last day that I drove my car, or any other car, was in the spring of 2017. And that was a hard day. I finally decided that I wanted to sell my car because what's the point of it just sitting around as we're paying for it? So I made the decision to drive down the road into an empty church parking lot and take photos of my car to list for sale. Knowing that this would be the last time I would let myself drive, that's emotional. That's something that you can't explain. It's very surreal. It's disheartening. It's depressing. And the hardest thing for me was feeling like my independence was just gone. So there I sat in my car, not wanting to get out to actually take the pictures. I just sat there and cried. And honestly, I just felt sorry for myself. I just let myself be sad for as long as I needed to feel sad. And I was there a while. But I finally got out of the car. I took the pictures, got back in the car, wept some more. And it sounds silly and ridiculous and so dumb, but I just sat there and I reflected and I remembered and I looked back on all these memories that I had of the adventures I had taken myself on with the gift of a license and a car. And I just needed to, oh shoot. That's what made that day so hard, was just, I was so scared to lose that part of my story, to lose such a big part of your independence. It is life-changing. It might seem superficial, but there's lots of things that you don't think about until you're in a certain situation and you're having to make these life-altering adjustments, and it makes everything different. And that kind of brings it back to why I wanted to start this support group, because this trial that we're going through, it can be isolating, and it's not because we don't have people in our lives or friends or family in our lives that are willing to try to understand and empathize with us. It's not that at all. It's because until you experience it, you don't know. You can't understand fully what it's like. So to be able to talk to others who are going through similar situations, it's just a comfort in so many ways to know that you're not alone and you're not the only one feeling blah sometimes. Surrendering my license and getting instead a state ID card when I moved to Utah was one of the most difficult things I've ever done. I don't want anybody else to feel sad and depressed beyond help of others and the reach of others. I want everybody to know that you're not alone, that everybody that you encounter and meet throughout the day, everybody's going through something. It might be big, it might be small, but we all have our trials and nobody is alone. And if you're in the same situation that I am in, as far as driving and transportation and independence, it is a challenge. It does change your life. You do have to alter the way that you go about your day. But it is not the end. It might feel like the world is crashing down around you, and it's okay to feel like that for a moment, for a season, but it's even more crucial, even more important that you pick yourself up and keep moving forward. And I'll be honest, I still struggle every day. It's hard to not be able to just jump in the car and run to the grocery store to grab a few ingredients for dinner, or just to get out of the house and go somewhere farther than where my bike can take me. But I still have my feet, I still have my legs, I still have my bike. I can still get around wherever I need to go. And don't be afraid to ask for help. I have met so many kind and loving neighbors and people in our church that would drop anything to help me out if I needed to get somewhere. And that's a lesson that I am trying to learn. I'm still working on it. I still have a long way to go. But I need to set my pride aside and ask for help. It's okay to ask for help. Think of it this way. Look back and remember the last time that you went out and served somebody. It can be big or small, but how did it make you feel afterwards? Amazing, right? Amazing. So just remember that the next time you feel anxious or scared to ask for help. Just think how it's going to make that other person feel at the end of the day. Think of the blessings that it's going to bring into their life and yours. There have been a few times where I asked our neighbor across the street if she could help me get to a few interviews, but other than that, I ride my bike or I walk. Does that make everything less convenient? Yes. Does it take 5 times longer to get anywhere? Yes. But I can still get there on my own, and that makes me feel really good. Anyway, I just wanted to get on here. It's been so long, and it still is my goal to upload something at least once a week. It may not always pertain to Stargardts. My goal is to document more of our family and the things that we do together, but I do want to continue uplifting and encouraging one another here on this channel. I just felt like I should share that story today because I'm always thinking of you guys. I'm thinking of you guys who are going through that right now or have already gone through it and are struggling with the after effects, because I know it's pretty crappy, and I want you to know that you're not alone and that I'm thinking of you. One other thing that I just thought of that I feel like I should share is when I'm feeling really down and woe is me, just take a step back and really look at your life and count the many blessings that you have. Despite the many trials that my husband and I are going through right now, we are still beyond blessed. Having that heart of gratitude really does lift your spirits, and so I encourage you all to try that. Write those things down. Make a list that you can look back on if you're having an especially hard day and you can't think of anything. You can look back at that list and count your blessings. I hope you guys are all having a great day, and I'm so glad that I'm able to talk to you again. It feels really good. Let's make this a great week. Get out there and serve one another. Just be good to one another, and let's make a difference. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.